Hello and welcome to Old Ways Gardening and Prepping. My name is Teresa. I would like to welcome you into our kitchen this afternoon where we're going to have fun making a mushroom stock. Now, what I'm doing is I'm going to be basically canning mushrooms with a little more juice in them so that when we want a hamburger steak, I can open a pint jar of this mushroom stock and make gravy with it and have hamburger steak with mushroom gravy. You can add it to soups. You can just make gravy with it. There's possibilities with this is endless. Now there's going to be a few little twists and turns on down the line, but I will let you know about those as time uh, comes to do those. Now, just remember, I am a feral canner. I do not listen to what the alphabet organizations tell me what I can and cannot do for my family. I have made this many, many times, and it is absolutely delicious, and we have never gotten sick from it. Now, with that being said, now I do follow some basics of the rules, and that's the time for pressure canning, making sure everything's clean and sanitized, and so on. Yes, there's basic guidelines to follow, but I know if it's sold in the store, I can can it myself. So, with that being said, let's talk about what we're going to be using. Now, I've got 3 large onions for a change, actually big onions. 2 are red, 1 is yellow. I might end up needing 4. I might only use 2. It depends on how much the sliced mushrooms end up being. Now, I was blessed with a case, 10 pounds of beautiful button mushrooms on clearance for just a hair over $12. And then a pound and a half here on clearance. So, yep, I am making sure that the canned mushrooms are back on the pantry. And I'm happy because we've been out for a while. Now, what I'm fixing to do is take these over, rinse them off really well. I'm not worried about water being in them because we're going to be canning them. And I will bring you back once I get all these cleaned up and ready to slice up. Now this takes a little while to do, but nothing good most of the time happens quickly. It is worth every second, believe me, because it is absolutely delicious. Alright, once I get all the mushrooms rinsed off, cleaned up real good, only water, y'all. No soap. Don't use any soap. Don't need to. I will bring you back once I get the mushrooms cleaned up and ready to slice up. See you here in a bit. Okay, I've washed them or rinsed them really good in cold water. Now, just remember that once you put them in cool water, they're going to start showing spots and stuff. Do not worry. And look at this little one. That one goes in whole, and this little one here goes in whole also. Always keep paper towels around because you're not going to be able to get everything off of them. If you see some on it, just wipe it off. Now stems, I want to keep those. I'm going to cut the end off of it. Have a discard pile. or bowl handy. And this will be going in the compost pile. Okay, big mushrooms, I'm going to cut them in half and slice them. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be slicing for a while if you do a big batch like I am. Cut that end off where it was cut when they harvested it. Cut it in half. Now, only time I take the brown spots off, a lot of times that's bruising, and they will bruise when you wash them. Only time I take those completely off is if it's slimy. But you shouldn't be canning up slimy mushrooms anyway. You want them in as good a health as possible. Little spots on them, I'm not worried about that personally. It's up to you. Now, I'm going to keep going. And once I get to about a quarter of the mushrooms done, I'll bring you back because I want to cut up an onion. See you here in a bit. Okay, I've got about a quarter of mushrooms sliced up and into the stock pot. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is we're going to need to cook them a little bit before we put them into jars, or because mushrooms are notorious for shrinking in size and they like to float. So if you cook them a little bit before you can them up or put them into your jars, you'll know exactly how many mushrooms you're getting pretty much per jar. I mean, you're not going to know how to count them, but if you want to be that OCD, you can. But now, if you want to use just yellow onions, you can. If you want to just use white onions, you can. Now, I do not know how it's going to taste. If you want Vidalia, yeah, I'm not looking for a sweet onion in this recipe. Let me tell you right now, this red onion, from what it smells like, it ain't going to be sweet at all. Whew, that one's been in storage for a while, which is fine. I want all that good onion in the canned mushrooms, but I don't want the onion to overpower the mushrooms either. So it's a fine balance. Let me go get a spoon. I'll be right back. And we'll add the onion into the stock pot. I want to stir it gently. Gently. Yep, that's perfect amount. Now I'm going to keep cutting, slicing mushrooms. Once I get enough in the pot, then I'll add another onion, and maybe it depends on how many this slices up to, if I need to go 3 or maybe 4. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, when you're slicing your mushrooms up, you can dice them if you want to, but when you slice your mushrooms up, remember, mushrooms have gills. The white mushrooms gills are brown, and when you're slicing them up, some of the gills can get on the blade, onto your mushroom, and you might think that it's the growing medium. It's not. It's just the mushroom gill. You're perfectly fine. But yet this is a labor of love, and it's worth every second of it. I still got a whole big bowl to go. So off and away. See you later on. Now this is a labor of love. Alright, stock pot is at the moment about 3/4 full. Now, you need to cook them some. You can't just raw pack them because they will shrink, and cooking them a little bit helps with that. Now, one thing you have to remember, mushrooms will suck in water, and once they get closer to being cooked, they will release the water. So, I have already 1 gallon of filtered water in here. You could use regular water, it depends on you. I'm going to wait to put the rest of the water in the pot until I get it out on the cooker. Now, you're going to want some water in here because that's what's going to make the stock, the mushroom stock. And you need it when you go to can. Alright, what I'm going to do is take this out to the propane cooker. I'm going to bring it up on medium high, medium. You want to make sure nothing sticks. And this spoon's not going to work for this process. I got to get the big spoon down while I'm thinking about it. Because you're going to need something. Of course, I know not everybody's going to make this monster of a batch. But I stock to put away. And you're going to want to keep an eye on it. Let nothing stick on the bottom. Because if anything sticks and burns, you've ruined your whole batch. So, I'm going to take this outside. You want to cook it until the mushrooms just start to get limp and change their color. And you'll cut your heat off. Now, I'm going to just let it set and cool down some before I try to carry this big pot back in here. And who knows, I might end up cold packing this. It's not going to hurt a thing, y'all. I will bring, now you want a lid on it. A good sturdy lid. And we're going to do it on medium. And I will bring you back when they are ready to jar up. And like I said, I've got another gallon of water. I'm not going to be using that much water. I might put, there's a gallon of water in here already. I might put half of that gallon of water. So I will see you back here after a while. They have cooked some. They have come up to a light simmer. And as you can see, well, now you can see they are kind of almost cooked. They're about halfway cooked. That's where I have cut the flame off. I did not say that I did end up putting 4 large onions in the pot. 2 red, 2 big yellows. And I did end up putting the 2nd gallon of water in. Now, I have not seasoned it because I'm going to put all the seasonings in the jar. That way I know for a fact each jar will be the same uniform flavor. Look at that. It's cooked down a little, not a whole lot below what it was, but they have cooked down. I am going to let it sit here and cool down quite a bit. That's just how I do it. And I will see y'all back when it's ready to jar up. See you after a while. It's time to get busy seasoning the jars the mushrooms have set up for a while. So, like I said, there is no seasoning in here in the stock pot whatsoever. Now, in each jar, I'm going to add a teaspoon of Himalayan pink salt. And I have 19 jars ready to roll because that's my, good grief, that's my canner. Hold on. Okay, I don't know what happened to that. That went crazy. I'm going to finish filling the 19 jars up with salt, and I'll be right back. Okay, I have them all salted. Now I'm going to use black pepper. I think the camera's having a hissy fit because I put a brighter light bulb into the kitchen. Now, I'm going to use a half a teaspoon also of black pepper. Now, if you want to, now anything that I use, you can omit. Salt's kind of important because it is a preservative. You could use a quarter of a teaspoon of black pepper if you wanted to. So I'm going to finish filling the jars. I'll be right back. Of course, make sure your jars are clean and sanitized. Your spoons, everything you use is clean and sanitized. And dried parsley, that is a must. At least for us because we love it. And I'm going to do a half a teaspoon. I usually use a teaspoon, but I'm getting a little low. I'll be back. That's all done. Now, of course, I'll have everything that I use in the description box below the video. Now, this is where I take it up a notch. Healthier for us. This is mushroom powder. All it is mushroom powder. There's lion's mane, there's reishi, and there's chaga in it. And yes, you can with it as well. It's just going to boost the nutrient value of this mushroom stock even more. And I'm going to use a half a teaspoon, which is plenty, for each jar. Now, it's light, so might take you a bit to get a full half a teaspoon. And this is how you make your food your medicine. Alright, I will be right back. And that was a half a teaspoon per jar. And that's what I'm using. It was like $9, a little more than $9 a bag. I didn't even really put a dent into the bag much. But you won't, because sometimes chaga can be a little harsh. You won't know that it's in there. And it's an easy way to make your food even healthier. And I'm doing a half a teaspoon of minced garlic. And see, this way I know that every jar is going to be seasoned the same, and there won't be any surprises. It's easier to do it this way. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but you know that all your seasoning that you need is in the jar, and when you open it, you can use it straight. You don't have to really add anything unless you just want to. Now, another good one, if you want to, you can put fresh or dried thyme if you wanted to. It might change the flavor up quite a bit. You could add some rosemary. Make this seasoned your way. If you don't have the fresh minced garlic, garlic powder is perfectly fine. Alright, I got everybody done. Woohoo! Now it's time to get some jars filled up. Now I also have a jar of white vinegar to wipe my rims. Doesn't matter if you don't get anything on those rims, still wipe them. Alright, now we're going to want to end up with a an inch headspace. There we go. But first I'm going to put about a half a jar of cooked mushrooms. And then the rest, I'm not wasting this wonderful broth. And yes, it's broth because it's not seasoned. Come on. Oh man, y'all, it smells so good. Now take a clean paper towel, rag, whichever one you decide to use. Dip it in your vinegar, rinse it out. I'm wring it out a little bit. Yep, I just jumped the gun. I'm going to be wiping it again. Take a debubbler. I use the handy dandy heat proof chopstick. I'm going to stir that bottom real good. Okay, now we're going to wipe the rim again. Double check your lids. Put your band on just finger tight. Now I have my pressure canner outside ready to go. I want to do, a half a jar of the mushroom onion mix. That way you got plenty of mushrooms and onions in each jar. And we're going to finish filling it up with the broth. And remember, 1-inch headspace, which is just right here at the base of the neck, under that first little ring. Nope, I'm going to leave it on. Stir it bottom real good. Make sure it's all mixed up. Now, each time you wipe your rim, make sure you use a different place on either your paper towel. Because see, look, Hold on, that one little speck could cause, believe it or not, yes, that little speck could cause your lid not to seal. But look at that. That's beautiful. Look how rich and healthy and dark that is. Alright, I've got 17 more jars to fill up, and I'll bring you back when I'm done. See you after a while. Have 19 beautiful pint jars and more to jar up. Look at that beautiful jar of healthiness right there. That's going to make some amazing gravy. Now, another thing you can do is you can make soup with it as well. Be a soup base. Because I already know I'm going to have some broth left over and a little bit of mushrooms and onions. And we're going to have a chicken with what's left over. I'm going to take the stock, add a little water to it because I know this is condensed. I'm going to add some chicken breast, what little bit of mushrooms and onions that'll be left over in there. Probably chop up another onion, put some carrots and some rice. We're going to have soup for dinner tomorrow night. Now I'm videoing this Saturday night, so it'll be dinner for Sunday night. Alright, I gotta get these out to the canner, and I'll bring y'all right back. See you here in a bit. Okay, apparently I didn't video loading the canner, but it is venting now. It's up to temp venting, and I'm gonna let it vent. Sorry, there's a breeze, so it's disrupting the venting. I'm gonna let it vent for 10 minutes, and I'll bring y'all back. It has vented for 10 minutes. Now I'm gonna put my 10-pound weight on. Know what weight you're supposed to use for your area, and I'm going to bring you back when it's at 11 pounds of steady pressure. See you here in a bit. She is at a steady 11 pounds of pressure, and I'm going to let it cook for 40 minutes per pint. Now, quart, I will have that pressure, and no, I'll have the time for quarts, but I do know pints of 40 minutes. I'll see you back here later. Alright, it's been 40 wonderful minutes. I'm cutting the flame off, and I'm going to let her depressurize to zero, give it a little bit of time, and I'm going to take the weight off. I'll see y'all later. It has completely decompressed to zero. I'm going to let it cool down for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to start removing the jars. See you here in a bit. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. We're going to take the lid off. And be real careful. There could be a lot of steam, and you definitely don't want to get burnt. Always open it away from you. Ha ha ha, not much steam. She's cooled down quite a bit. Alright, I'm going to get these jars unloaded, get them in the house, and I'll bring y'all back. There we have 19 beautiful bubbling jars of homemade mushroom. You can call it canned mushrooms, mushroom stock made from scratch. And I know absolutely what is all in those jars. Absolutely gorgeous. Simple, easy, homemade, time consuming, yes, but worth every second when you have these beautiful jars of healthy, delicious food on your pantry shelf. Now, I have more to can. Sorry, I'm not going to tell you how much more. You saw one batch, but I do have more to can up, and I need to get started on another canning video. Simple, easy, homemade. You can do this as long as you believe in yourself, and you have the pressure canner, and you have all the beautiful mushrooms. Now, another thing I was going to say, if you've got the tiny little button mushrooms or very tiny baby bellas, you can also can them whole. You need to do the same cooking process, but now if you don't want to do all the slicing, if you catch them on a really good sale or clearance and they're in really good shape, you can already buy the pre-sliced mushrooms. Just the big slices, break them down into smaller pieces. Homemade, delicious goodness. Lots of gravy gonna be made. Can add to soups. Can do so much with this wonderful mushroom. I call it mushroom stock, canned mushrooms, whichever you want to call it. Now, I'm going to let these babies cool for about 12, 14 hours or so. Make sure they're all sealed. If any do not seal, put them in your fridge and use them within a couple of days. But I'm going to give them a really good soapy bath, label them, and put them up on in the pantry. Simple, easy, and you can do it as well. Everyone, continue to stock up your pantries with foods that will nourish and sustain you. Remember, your food is your medicine. You eat crap, you're going to feel like crap. You eat good food, you're going to feel good. Continue to stock up on medicinals that will heal you, protection of all kinds, and above all else, the bare essentials to survive on. Everyone, take care, stay safe and sound, and may you each be blessed. Hoot, hoot. Mwah. Love y'all. See you soon.